Welcome back to Don't Forget Your Flashlight, episode 2.
What?
What's going on, guys?
Episode 2.
How was your weekends, even though it's technically the weekend now?
Life.
Honestly, Gabe might be the busiest one out of all of us right now.
Yeah, dude, he's been having a bunch of late nights lately.
I'm
I've
saying.
been having late nights. Very late nights.
Also,
Late
what's
rehearsals.
going on with your face, bro?
Don't worry about it.
All right. Anyway, Michael, you worked on this story, right?
I did. It's a little past now, but it is basically the connection between paganism and Halloween. I figured we could do it for Halloween, even though
Ooh.
it'll release after Halloween.
Yeah. Halloween's the mindset.
Halloween's a mindset. I like that.
Yeah, some
That's
people
nice.
believe Halloween is the entire month of October.
Halloween is the whole year.
Halloween is underrated. They're like shifting out Halloween anymore for Christmas,
It's so upsetting.
and it's
I
just
think Thanksgiving is underrated. Like, you eat, but like, the two big holidays everyone talks about is Halloween and Christmas. No one talks
Not
about Thanksgiving.
really.
You kind of skip over it.
it's pretty much just Christmas anymore. People have to wait all year, and I get it. Like, I like Christmas. Don't get me wrong, but Christmas is just like a capitalist holiday. It's just to get you. I 100% believe that corporations have just been feeding you all this like propaganda, essentially, to get you to buy more of their stuff.
Well, so here's the thing,
And they're getting away from like Christmas just being with your family. Let's bring back handmade gifts.
We
Just
got
learn
to
a
a
skill,
point-
get really good at it, make some cool shit.
You don't even have to be good at it. Just try something.
we got to a point in my family where we don't, like, when you're a kid, you get toys. Like, we still give the kids toys because they're kids and, they play with them. But, like, the adults don't really do much other than hang out. So we just eat and all hang out and are all together as one big family,
Mhm.
And, like, it's weird. Like, as a kid, I loved Christmas because you got toys, like, that was just, like, the thing. Like, I got to see all my family. We got toys. I'd play, like, one year, one of my cousins got, like, the Gargoyle set, like the animated Gargoyle show. He got, like, all the figures from that, and we all, like, all three of us played with them, and it was a lot
Oh,
of
that's
fun.
awesome. Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I love Christmas probably the most because now it's just purely about seeing my family and hang out with them because that's all we do. Like, we don't really give gifts except for the kids, so it's just hanging out, eating, like, good music.
Yeah, but you guys are pretty separated though.
Yeah, I mean, I only see them on the holidays typically.
I don't really spend time with my family during the holidays anymore.
Same. Except my mom and my dad are coming for Thanksgiving, which is blowing my mind.
I'm going to go to a friend's house for Thanksgiving and hang out
Me
with them
too.
and their family.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Michael's coming over here.
I am.
Nice. Well, if I was in town, I'd go over there, but
Make the trip.
no, because I'd have to bring my animals.
Fair enough. Anyway,
Anyway.
Gabe, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. All right. So,
Paganism and the origins of Halloween. The modern celebration of Halloween with costumes, jack-o'-lanterns, and trick-or-treating actually has deep pagan roots. Its origins trace back over 2,000 years to an ancient Celtic festival called Samhain, celebrated by pagan people across Ireland, Scotland, and parts of Britain. The pagan festival of Samhain. Samhain marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, a time when the natural world seemed to die, only to be reborn in spring. To the Celts, this was also the turning of the year, when one year ended and another began. They believed that on the night of October 31st, the boundary between the living and the spirit world grew thin. The veil between worlds lifted, allowing the dead to return and walk among the living. This wasn't seen as frightening. It was a time to honor ancestors, share feasts, and seek guidance from spirits. Fires were lit on hilltops to protect communities from evil spirits, and people wore masks or costumes to disguise themselves from wandering ghosts, a practice that survives in Halloween dress up today.
Do you guys want to take a second to talk about each section?
Yeah, we can.
do it.
Because I broke them down into sections for that reason, because I figured we'd talk in between them.
Gotcha.
So, Samhain, I have heard of this before. My first time actually hearing about the Samhain part of it was actually Supernatural, the episode where they...
Is it Sam Hain or Salmon?
Salmon? I thought it was Samhain? Samhain?
I thought it was Samhain, but that's just because, like, that's how... first time I ever heard of it was Halloween Part 5, 4, 5, when Michael Myers was part of the Festival of Samhain, where he had a Celtic rune on his wrist, and that's how he was basically brought back every time due to sacrifices.
Oh, dude, we were all wrong. It's pronounced Samhain.
Then I need to redo all of that.
No, it's fine. We're explaining it right now.
Yeah. You can just from here on read it that way.
Yeah, Samhain.
Because I think they even made that mistake in Halloween because they called it Samhain.
Yeah, I knew that was wrong, or it sounded weird anyway. Samhain.
Yeah, it was really cool because they would describe it as like, think of like a big family Thanksgiving would probably be the best way to describe it nowadays to people, where you just have that long big ass table and like it's just lined with people all down the sides, and then you got people at the end, like your big people typically at the ends. And
this sounds like
just a huge festival of eating basically and celebrating the end of the harvest.
This honestly sounds like the Mexican tradition of oh my god, I'm gonna say it wrong.
Cinco de Mayo.
Well, no, it's the Day of the Dead.
Oh my god.
Dia de los Muertos. Dia de los Muertos.
I don't know if they do a big food celebration for it, but it's a big party where you wear like masks and it's like celebrating like.
Yeah, I think it's November 1st anyway, so it's pretty much like the same time anyway.
Yeah, like right after Halloween.
Well, what I find interesting, and especially when I'm studying like in college, like studying other cultures and stuff like that, is that most other cultures have traditions to celebrate the dead, to honor the dead, and it wasn't until Christianity kind of started making those practices more, that's demonic. That's, does that make sense?
Scariest thing the world has ever produced was Christianity. I stand by it.
Here.
I will say, I like the idea of wearing a mask to hide who you are from spirits.
Yeah. That like spirits also need are kind of visual things, where they have to see.
Because like part of you could interpret that of like, if you want to hide your identity, so maybe they couldn't follow you home or like haunt you in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like bring an evil spirit home that's, basically trapped at your house now.
All right. I don't...
It does kind of sadden me a little bit that specifically Americans have gotten away to just traditional thinking and I don't know what you want to call it, practices, like traditional practice and stuff.
Well, yeah. So hear me out. Like in Roman culture, right? They had specific holidays where they literally went to the tombs of their ancestors, and they would just have a feast amongst with their and everyone would be feasting, and you'd bring pillows and you'd hang out with your ancestors. And other cultures like that, they have this very loving mindset of their dead, of the lost ones. And I feel like only in America is it really we put them in a graveyard. We hide death so much. It's like everyone shuns death. Death is death. We have hospitals specifically keep the death away from us. You only go there when you're sick. When and everyone associates hospitals a lot of times with death.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't want to go to hospitals.
There's so much death, and we hide from it. We cast it out because that's not part of our society. And I think there needs to be. I think that needs to be brought back.
I will say there's one part of that I really enjoy, where it's the time when the natural world seemed to die. It's like when winter does come, you get those really quiet days where it's cold, so everything's hibernating. You don't really hear anything in the woods, and you can just hear the breeze typically if you're not in a city. So you're just kind of even in a city, because a lot of people don't go outside because it's cold, so it gets kind of quieter. The world does kind of die in a sense.
And it's also the last time for the harvest. That was when the end of the last harvest.
Yeah,
because again, it was going to become too cold to let anything grow anymore. So you had to have all of your harvesting done by then.
Hope you had enough food for the winter.
Because the world was dying to be reborn in spring. I think there's something beautiful about that.
You can still grow stuff in the winter. Just specific things.
Specific things, yeah. But the mass harvest of food items that you were growing to feed everyone, I feel like was mainly grown during the harvest seasons.
I will say the part where they talk about lighting the fires on the hilltops to prevent evil spirits from coming. Whenever I was typing that, I pictured. Did you guys ever see
Lord of the Rings?
I think it was called The Village by Shyamalan.
Yeah.
I pictured that where they had the torches lit whenever the creatures would come in, even though the creatures were just the elders trying to keep people in line
and just walk right past those torches
and not see the outside world.
Yeah, I think that's a great movie.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie. Gabe, can I take the next section? It's really short.
Yeah, by all means, take it.
All right. Offerings and divination. During Samhain, pagans left food and offerings outside their homes to appease spirits or fairies, ensuring they wouldn't bring mischief or bad luck. Divination rituals, such as apple bobbing or reading the shapes of melted wax, were also common, used to foretell the future or predict marriage and harvest fortunes. Okay, I'd never heard of melted wax readings.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, what's that about?
Essentially, it'd be like, so I'm assuming it's the way, like, you know, like when you watch a candle melt, like how no candle will melt the same, how it would melt differently. It would give you like signs or predictions, and I guess people got really good at reading it, or there was just like a common practice to where you could pretty much be like, if it ran down one side, you'd be like, that's gonna be a good marriage. Like the common thing where it's like, if it rains on your wedding day, it'll be a good marriage.
So Dr. Google says melted wax readings are ceromancy, involve interpreting the shapes, patterns, and movements of melted candle wax to gain insight into a question or situation. Readers look for images like animals or objects and formations like circles or numbers, while also considering the flow of the wax to receive messages. These readings can provide information on time frames, people, and emotions or life aspects, but the interpretation is highly intuitive and subjective.
It's like a gypsy reading, like getting your palms read or something.
Okay, I don't think it's like a gypsy reading, because gypsy is like culture, and those people actually, I would say,
like getting your fortune
more
told.
like a wives' tale, like an old wives' tale type thing. Like how much faith do you really put into yourself?
I think it's cool.
I like the idea how like
into it.
everything means something on that, but like you would never know that unless you like studied it.
I kind of want to go to someone like and do a reading and have someone do like a reading for me, not because I'm looking for anything specific, just to see what they say. You know what I mean?
They're like, Gabe, your life will fall apart in 2 years.
Well, that's
Go to like a tarot reading and be like, get the death card. I'd be like, cool.
No,
like by the end of season 2, Gabe will kill somebody.
That was funny.
Well, shall we carry on?
Carry on.
Gabe, do you just want to ping pong?
I don't want to get copyrighted. Yeah. Oh, real quick, I did want to mention one thing that made me think of as far as the fairies and appeasing spirits and bad luck. Something that I saw a video on, and it's one of those things when I thought about it, I was like, this makes too much sense to. Have you ever heard of like the changelings, or like the what was it, where they thought their kids were snatched by fairies and replaced?
Vaguely. I've vaguely heard of that.
So there's
the name of it.
like a Gaelic thing, like tradition, I believe in, maybe it's in the Scottish Highlands or whatever, where they thought kids at a young age could be like kidnapped by the fairies and then replaced with it was like some fey creature type thing.
Wasn't that just like a common thing to say back in the day for misbehaved kids, though?
But my point being is this: we're talking about like babies and toddlers here, right? The parents are like, there was a noticeable change. Our kid changed, right? Think of it this way. When kids are born, and their brain isn't fully developed, it starts developing. Autistic kids, when their brain starts developing, does a complete change, right? Because they start...
Wait. Did their mother take Tylenol?
Yet to be seen. Well, this is before Tylenol was created.
Touche. Just saying.
So Tylenol doesn't...
RFK Jr. would have something to say about that.
Go back in time. Anyways, I'm saying is autistic people, like, how they like disassociate, how they shift, how the emotion change. What if the kids' brains were just starting to develop and they were becoming the normal way they're supposed to be, but the parents saw it as such a sudden shift of how they were as like when their brain wasn't developed fully, or when when it's still in the underdeveloped,
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is that's probably happened, where they thought like my kid is like a changeling, and then because they used to, part of that tradition was leaving the kid out in the woods for the fae to take the kid back, or to take the spirit back. It was no longer their child.
They just dropped their kid off in the woods?
Yes, literally. That was part of it. Sorry, if you didn't know that. They thought their kid was replaced by a changeling or whatever it was called. I'm going to Google the name so I don't call it the wrong thing continuously.
I've heard changeling. Not gonna lie, I thought that was some Harry Potter shit, but what do I know?
I think changelings have been around a little longer than Harry Potter.
Well, I don't know.
But
Changing. So in Scottish folklore, children might be replacements for fairy children. In the Tithe to Hell, this is best known from the Ballad of Tamlin. According to common Scottish myths, a child born with a cowl, a mark of the anatomic membrane across their face, is a changing and will die, is of fey birth. Changelings. So I was absolutely wrong. It is changelings. They thought that their kid had been replaced by a fey baby, right? Because that was the practice was they thought the fae would take their own children and replace it with the human children, so the humans would raise the fae children of age. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But what is a fae?
Fae is like fairies, spirits. the idea of fairies has been kind of cultivated in like Peter Pan. There's fairies, but even then the fairies are mischievous. But actual fae encompasses like all of those fairy style like mythical creatures, and oftentimes fae themselves were mischievous
Michael,
to the crazy extent.
Real quick, so you talked about the wax thing, but I feel like you kind of glossed over it. They also did the apple bobbing as part of the
how
way
was that one?
Of predicting.
Yeah, explain that one to us if you did the research on this, right?
I don't actually know what you could tell by that is the problem.
Let's look it up.
Like, obviously, I'm not the person who would know the kind of readings for that.
We are all about telling our audience the full truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You got it, Gabe? I've got it.
It was like something to do with like who a woman would marry, right?
Oh yeah, it's a courtship ritual.
But I don't know.
I got it as a love divination.
I don't know if it was like a... Does it specify how the ritual goes? Like, is it like a number of apples? Like, whoever gets like a number of apples, like of the like, if 4 guys competed, whoever got the most apples, is that the one that would marry her?
The number of tries it took to get an apple in one's mouth was said to predict the relationship's fate. 1 try, the relationship would be loving. 2 tries, it would be passionate, but eventually fizzle out. 3 or more tries, the relationship was not meant to be.
Dang.
Yeah, so young women would bob, in Celtic influence, Celtic tradition, young women would bob for apples with each apple representing a potential suitor. The outcome of the game was taught to predict their romantic futures.
There was something...
So each apple represented a different person, ideally, is what I'm thinking from Celtic heritage.
Well, I think it'd be. I feel like it'd be like you're playing the game, like you're bobbing for apples, and like you'd be like, I'm gonna essentially be bobbing for this person, and if it's like, if you could get the apple in 1 try, in the name of this person, then it would be a loving relationship. But if you're trying for like, let's say I was bobbing for apples for you, Gabe, all right, and it took me like 3 or more tries to get the apple, it means like our relationship wouldn't last on account of you having a penis. But if I were to bobbing for Michael, and I did it in 1 try, it'd be like if I had a relationship with Michael, it would be a loving relationship.
Strong, yeah.
But it wouldn't on account of him having a penis.
You guys have it pulled up, so let me know if it's true. But there was something about like if she slept with a bobbed apple under her pillow, she could like have a dream or something of her husband. And then there was another part where it's like if she peeled the apple and threw the peel over her... It was her left shoulder. The way it would land, it would land with like the first letter of her husband, like the guy she's supposed to marry's name.
I'm not saying anything on that one. I'm saying about Roman tradition during the festival honoring Pomona, the goddess of fruit. These celebrations included rituals involving apples, which symbolizes the fertility and abundance, talking about how many potential children you would bear for young women. Like the fruit.
No one does bobbing for apples anymore.
Well, now it's
you see it in movies
it's a
still,
party
though.
game, yeah.
Like all of the watch any Hallmark Halloween movie. Someone's gonna be bobbing for apples in the background.
I feel like it's I feel like COVID kind of ruined it. But I knew it was like it was becoming less common, over the years because people are like eat germs.
How hard do you bob for an apple?
Bucket of water.
Wait, have you never bobbed for an apple?
Okay, then when you come over here, let's bob for apples.
We're bobbing for apples,
We
dude.
totally can, yeah. Because like I imagine it'd be kind of hard.
Get a big bundle of apples, and we'll bob for it.
Put them in like a bucket or something.
Yeah, dude. I know I bobbed for apples as kids.
I don't know if we ever did as kids, dude. I can't tell you if I've ever been to a party with bobbing, because you just brought that up. Like, I don't think anyone does it.
Casey, can I bob for your apple?
Hell yeah, sure, go for it.
Nice.
And then what do you what was the other part? There was another question before we got onto that. Oh, what do you think of leaving offerings outside of your house to appease spirits?
I love that.
Like food.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I think that's part of the Halloween tradition of like trick or treating.
That's essentially the candy you'd leave out for the kids, yeah.
I am not I think leaving offerings in any sort of context for whatever spirits or deities you want to is just another way of honoring your own religion, and I'm not going to fault anyone that wants to do that.
I'll say what, dude. Sorry, go ahead, Michael.
After doing this story, I will say watching Trick or Treat's really cool because it's the idea now of like the jack-o'-lantern being essentially that light on top of the hill to ward evil spirits. If you blow it out before the end of the night, you're allowing spirits in, which would be Sam when she killed the couple at the beginning.
So,
no, you're talking about the movie.
Yes, it's crazy the connection when you start reading this. Like it's like, shit.
Oh yeah,
dude, my house is like it's in a nice neighborhood. Like I live in a little small town, but I live on one of the nicest streets and
we have never said where Casey lives other than Missouri, so he just doxed himself.
I'll just beat myself or something. It doesn't fucking matter.
You live in
Yeah.
But
like-
it doesn't.
In the
It
state of-
doesn't fucking matter.
That, or we say Springfield, which is just a generically big ass town.
you live in Springfield in the state
Okay, either
of
way, I live outside of Springfield, and I live in like one of the nicer neighborhoods, if not the nicest neighborhood in this community. And thanks, Gabe. But we had like 5 trick-or-treaters this year, and like it was cool. Like everybody that did go trick-or-treating, they all dressed up great.
You had more than 5, bro.
How many do you think we had? Because you weren't drunk.
Probably like 10, dude. Because you had a bunch before.
10 is still nothing, dude. Dude, like last year, fuck, I don't know. We probably had between 30 and 50, I'd say. Christine was like just at the door all night.
A lot of your community is older, though, bro.
But no, it just made me really sad. Because, I mean, granted, yes, like you said, Michael, this community is older, but I don't know. I think the trunk or treating is kind of ruined some stuff, and just again, they're just like, dude, there were clearance Halloween items on Halloween. I think there was stuff going on clearance before Halloween to make room for Christmas stuff. Like, why does Christmas get 2 fucking months, but Halloween gets a week?
Dude,
Like,
I went
there's
in Walmart last week, and they already had in the lawn and garden section. All of their Christmas stuff was up in the lawn and garden section.
Halloween has way better traditions.
I mean,
and
dude, we're
just
talking about
getting
some of
rid
them right
that.
now.
I know, but like we're just getting rid of that stuff to make room for capitalists.
All right,
I
let's
fucking
move
hate
on.
that. I fucking hate that.
As we talk about capitalists, Christian transformation.
When Christianity spread through Celtic lands, the church tried to replace pagan festivals with Christian ones. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III moved All Saints' Day, also called All Hallows' Day, to November 1st. The night before became All Hallows' Eve, which eventually shortened to Halloween. But even as the name changed, the old pagan custom survived, blending into Christian practice. Bonfires, feasts, and costume traditions carried on, though now reinterpreted in a Christian context.
In a Christian context.
Sliding in.
You know what? Because that's exactly what Christianity does. And in
Whitewash
Christianity,
it.
no, it's not that. Well, yeah. Well, anyways, okay. Not
Kinda, yeah.
that has nothing to do
European
with what I'm saying.
Christianity did. Because I think like Christianity actually started in Africa.
It did. Yeah, in the Middle East. So what I was going to say is why I think Christianity isn't real. And whatever modern Christianity is so far gone from what it was supposed to be. Because you can see how it changes through over time. They needed to pick another day for All Saints' Day. There was a pagan festival and a pagan holiday on this day. They changed. They're like, oh, hey, pagans, you could celebrate us. We have the same holidays. Look, we've got this holiday, All Saints' Day, which lines up with the end of your festive season. That's what Christianity did to adapt into culture so they could bring more people into their thing.
Mm-hmm.
They changed their religion to suit what they needed it to be. So
Yeah,
how are you
and
going to
then-
tell me that was the purpose of God? Was
Well, then also didn't they like essentially demonize paganism,
mm-hmm.
and they made everybody afraid of it?
Because they told their flock, their people, their Christians that like, oh, these pagans, they do this and this and this, and they might have done some of that, but they did it to honor their gods. It was in their own way of worship, and but they demonized
Let's start a
it.
pagan church.
All right,
Let's find the most religious town in America and start a pagan church.
okay.
The focus Christianity
Let's start a YouTube series out of it.
appeal to it was the focus on the afterlife. The promise of an afterlife with eternal bliss or punishment was a powerful motivator for many, especially those who felt marginalized or couldn't afford pagan rituals.
And even that has changed over Christianity's life. Because original hell wasn't burning in a fiery lake of hell, a fiery pit. That wasn't the original. Hell was just a separation from God for eternity. That's all hell was you were separated from God. But no, it wasn't until the concept of suffering from other religions and other communities got brought into Christianity, and then Christianity was like, oh, we also have suffering. Yeah, if you die, you suffer. Yeah, and so that's how hell got changed. And you can see that in the doctrine and books and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Also, the crazy part is the free salvation. The
I
offer
love
of
how excited you're getting right now.
the offer of salvation for free, as opposed to the costly offerings required by some pagan religions, was especially appealing to the poor. So instead of giving up your food to the rituals, offering up, right? They'd be like, well, I'm poor, I can't afford that. But it's like, well, if you go with Christianity, we offer free salvation.
Not anymore, they don't.
But you're gonna have to donate enough for me to buy a private jet.
Yeah.
Yep.
God wants me to drive a Bentley. He told me.
He told me this.
He said, if you donate enough, I get a Bentley.
Historical bias, by the way. Christianity had a strong historical foundation with claimed witness to Jesus' life and resurrection, which differed from the mythologies of many pagan traditions, obviously.
Good times.
Christianity was like, Jesus came back. Like, he
You
died,
may
he
hear my
came
dog
back.
bark in the background.
As where pagans were like, we
Yeah.
just celebrate, we just honor the dead, and, we just don't want them to mess with us. You guys, like, have a guy who came back from the dead and helped you and messed with you. We don't want that.
Alright, the modern Halloween. As Irish and Scottish immigrants brought their customs to America in the 19th century, Halloween evolved into a more secular, community-centered holiday. Jack-o'-lanterns came from the Celtic religion or tradition of carving faces into turnips or beets to scare away spirits, later replaced by pumpkins in America. Trick-or-treating echoes both Samhain offerings and medieval souling, where people went door to door offering prayers for the dead in exchange for food. Yeah,
Hey.
well, I'm sure. Yeah,
I'll pray for your dead, and if you give me some food, I'll take that burden from you.
Also, I love the idea of carving a turnip or a beet versus a pumpkin.
I have seen some of them in my Roman art class, and some other, one of my art classes showed me what the turnips look like. They are creepy.
Yes,
They are creepy looking.
yes, they are.
Well, because it wasn't it supposed to be like for them to ward off the
You
dead,
wanted
like
to
they're
make it
trying to
scary
scare the dead.
Scare, yeah, that was the idea. Like, you wanted to make them look scary so they'd scare the spirits away.
Yeah, so you want that. So you want it to be scary.
All right, moving on.
I like the idea of, since you're calling trick or treating, souling.
Souling. I go souling.
I love the idea of just
souling.
going to someone like you just. I assume know who died in your village or know who died in your town, and you just go to their house and it's like, hey, I know you recently had someone die. I am hungry, so I'll pray.
Your dog is mad upset though, ain't he? Do you need to take care of something? We can pause.
My buddy's outside. He brought some wood for me for the winter, so I can survive the cold.
Just light your house on
he's-
fire.
He's outside unloading that wood at the moment, and I don't.
Okay. Michael, you want to take us away on this last part?
I can, yeah. Paganism's enduring spirit. Today, many modern pagans, especially Wiccans or neo-pagans, still celebrate Samhain as one of the 8 sacred festivals on the Wheel of the Year. It's honored as a spiritual new year, a time for reflection, ancestors' remembrance, and connection with the cycles of death and rebirth in nature.
Oh, that's cool. No, I was actually really curious about the Wheel of the Year.
I assume it would talk about other holidays, is what it's getting at.
Tell us about that wheel.
So Dr. Google says the Wheel of the Year is a modern pagan.
She's a doctor, though. That's true.
Yeah, Mother Dr. Google.
Doctor.
The Wheel of the Year is a modern pagan and Wiccan cycle of 8 seasonal festivals, including 4 soul festivals and 4 cross-quarter festivals that mark the midpoints between them. It represents the cyclical nature of life and the changing seasons, with celebrations often rooted in ancient folk traditions. The 8 festivals are Yule, Imbolc, Ostara, Belton, Litha, Lughnasadh, Mabun, and Samhain. For any pagan or Wiccans reading, I'm so sorry if I butchered those.
We're trying. And honestly, I like their
trying.
religions more than I like Christianity, so
We're
pagan.
Kinda
trying to
like the
enlighten
idea
people and
that there are
other
modern
options.
pagans somewhere in the world still, and Wiccans that do celebrate this.
Well, there is modern paganism.
No, that's what I'm saying though. I love that like it's still alive because like I feel like Casey was saying, we've lost a lot of traditions.
Yeah.
Like he literally just talked about like Halloween isn't what it used to be, and it's more Christmas now than anything.
Dude, the Wheel of the Year stuff, like, all right, so this is slightly off topic, but not. So these are just like a quick descriptions of those 8 festivals, right? The first one is Yule, which is the season is winter solstice. Description marks the longest night and the return of the sun. Imbolc is early spring, and it celebrates the first stirrings of spring in the growing light. Stara is the spring equinox, and it celebrates the balance between day and night and the renewal of life. Beltan, which is late spring, marks the height of spring and the transition to summer. Is summer solstice, which marks the longest day of the year. Lughnasadh, I don't know, but I butchered that one. That one's tough. Is early autumn. It's a harvest festival, often honoring the god La or Lu, Lugh. That's how it's spelled. Mabon is autumn equinox. It's a harvest festival that marks the second day of balance between day and night. And then Samhain, which is late autumn, marks the end of the harvest season, the beginning of winter.
Love all of that.
Yeah, those are great.
You can go really deep with this. It's pretty cool.
Most of it has to, most of it's with harvesting.
Paganism
'cause
might be one of my
that
favorite.
was a lot of what their life was. That was how they stayed alive during the cold months. Was
Paganism
harvesting.
might be one of my favorite religions.
I don't like how I'll admit this, because we are 3 white people, and I don't like how there is a certain group of white people, Nazis, who have adapted. I know.
Somebody say Nazis.
I know. I'm bringing it back. God, I hate them so much. I hate Nazis so much. I fucking hate them so much.
Have I told you about Project Paperclip? I'm just kidding.
I know.
It's
But
connected
I don't
somehow.
like how they're trying to that organization is trying to like spin like Norse paganism and making it this Aryan fucking bullshit. I'll just cuss at it because it's fucking stupid. I don't like how they're making it bullshit. It upsets me greatly because I want to get more into it, and the more I get into it, the more I see all the stupid people being racist assholes, and I'm like, giving a bad name for white people.
Nazis are based in paganism? Is that what you're saying?
No, they are trying to adapt paganism to their racist beliefs. Neo-Nazi people, but they're adapting the Norse religion into their racist beliefs. And that's why you see a lot of them have Norse tattoos and Celtic tattoos
It's
and
crazy
other style tattoos.
how people have to change like religion in the sense of like paganism. I feel like was fine the way it was, but Christianity then came in and was like, no, we're gonna change this.
A lot of paganism was honoring being in tune with nature.
That's all it was. Like honestly, it was they were chilling. That's really all it was. They were just chilling.
Being in tune with nature.
Yeah.
And
The Nazi movement was based on racism, extreme nationalism,
I'm talking about modern Nazis.
and a secular, often pseudo-pagan ideology.
Yeah, pseudo-pagan. There it is. I don't like that aspect of it. The pseudo-paganism stuff. Because I just want to be in touch with nature and find harmony with nature.
Yeah. Start a garden.
Look, I want to do it in my own way.
Grow weed. No one cares.
That's going to happen at some point.
See, no one cares. It's 2025.
It will not happen.
Bro.
Yeah, we're in an era where you don't have to get the shittiest weed because that's all your buddy can get a hold of because it's illegal. You can go into shops and get some really nice quality now. Legally.
Illinois, certain states tax the crap out of things.
Oh, well, yeah. That's why they made it legal so you could tax the hell out of it because they knew they'd make a shit ton of money on it.
So much money. But yeah, back to paganism and the holidays and Halloween. I like the aspect of it, honor your dead, celebrate, get rid of the, cast away the evil spirits. You don't want that energy with you. Welcoming in a new bountiful season and protecting you during these hard months.
Honestly, that might be part of it. Might be what's wrong with Halloween today is we don't know the traditions. We don't know like the history in the past on Halloween. Why? It's also part of the reason why we're losing so many of these like great holidays and stuff because we don't know the history. What makes them so great? Like Halloween, yes, there's trick-or-treating and people partying, they have a good time, but there's a reason for it. We're celebrating
traditions.
Yeah, it's about celebrating your deceased loved ones.
The line,
honoring your dead. Yeah.
Talking about that, my favorite line is that very last one I just read, where it's honored as a spiritual new year, a time of reflection, ancestor remembrance, and connection with the cycles of death and rebirth in nature. I love that line.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual new year, time of reflection. Think about it.
I think school should teach that.
Be so cool.
It would be cool to like if the younger generation knew more about Halloween or the history of Halloween, I should say, because they know of Halloween because it's fun. Well, people say it's a kid's.
That's funny. Why don't Christians want other religions taught in school? They want Christianity in school. They don't want other religions in school. And I think the reason is because it would make it so much easier for people to choose to believe something else.
Yes.
Because if they had other options and they felt in their own way about a certain other religion, it would be a lot easier if they knew more about it. So the idea of keeping that knowledge from them is so crazy. Like it's control. It's all control. Not that this podcast needs to go there.
Yeah, we definitely don't cover that stuff at all.
It'd be cool because Halloween fell on a Friday. Kids are going to be in school. You never got Halloween off in school. So it's like you could at the very least teach like even a brief history of Halloween on Halloween since you're in school that day anyway. It'd be kind of cool for the holiday.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a whole fucking... Yeah. Doesn't mean a specific class on religious history. Actually, they probably should. You probably should have a class in school of religious history.
Mm-hmm.
There was
some
one
like religious study in high school and stuff.
And you learn about different religions and different histories about the religions.
Yeah, don't not
no
just
bias,
exclusively.
There's no bias in nature.
Yeah, don't make schools Christian. Don't make schools Christian. Have a class of religious studies. You can emphasize Christianity if you want to. You can enlighten them on your own religion. It doesn't matter to me, because you just make it to where these kids have a choice
to learn. Yeah.
When I was in college, I was at a state fair. Like, what would that be? Like technical college, I guess. But
yeah,
they did teach I think it was just religious studies or something. But it was a class. It was a class about religion. But they only talk about like the big religions, like Christianity,
Catholicism,
Buddhism,
Judaism.
Yeah, we covered that one, and that was Islamic? It though. I don't know if we did Islamic, but we barely brushed we did.
There's hundreds of religions,
but it didn't really deep dive into a lot of the cooler ones. It's just like the main ones you always hear about.
Yeah,
it'd be cool if they went into paganism. Like you learn a little bit.
I will say one thing that I find interesting about being at university, not being at university. I'm British now. I'm at university. Now, being at a university where the gen eds and the classes that you can take, it's all subject on what teachers are there and what those teachers can teach.
Yeah,
and that's something I had not thought about. I'm like,
he's studying abroad.
Like, there should be these classes. That's great. There needs to be someone that can teach them. So I've taken, my Roman art class, my Greek civilization class, my Greek mythology class. It's all because there was people here who could teach that. If there was no one here that could teach that, those classes wouldn't be here. Yeah. But there's a specific teacher here who can teach that class, who does have that knowledge. And they might not even specialize in that, but it's a part of their teaching
education.
So they can teach on it. They're educated enough to teach it, which I find fascinating about how universities work. Because we're saying how, there needs to be all these teachings and stuff. Unless there's a way you could attach it to like the public school curriculum of like, hey, we're teaching all of them. You need to have someone who specializes in this type of stuff. Well, especially once you get to like, more specialized, deep dives into it. But it would be nice if there was a generalized education for it, of generalized study for it in school to just teach kids, different things. What else is out there and what has been taught to them and what they might encounter. What do and belief is a lot about personal choice.
Yeah. This wasn't the dark episode I thought it was going to be.
No, it actually turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty enlightening, and I learned quite a bit.
I love it.
I enjoyed this. I feel like we have like an adult version of Reading Rainbow anymore.
That's essentially, I feel like what it is we're just kind of like...
And it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Michael, thanks for the great episode. I enjoyed it. It's going to come out after Halloween. Sorry, bummer.
Read that last part.
Did I not?
Do you want Gabe to read it with his voice? Because he kind of gave us an intro with his voice. I think he should give us an outro with his voice, yeah.
Even for those who don't follow paganism, the spirit of Samhain lives on every October 31st, in the flicker of a candle inside of pumpkin, in the mystery of the night, and in the quiet remembrance of those who came before us. Thank you for listening. As always, don't forget your flashlight.